You are very welcome along to this week's Shot Clock. It is the Irish broadcasting version of Liverpool against Atletico Madrid, where we put the famed classy talents of Kieran Donaghy up against the shithousery of Ger Gilroy. The format is simple. We've got 3 different rounds. First of all, we've got the classic Shot Clock. We've got a couple of debate subjects where Ger and Kieran go up against one another. If they make a good argument, you will hear this sound. It's just a bing, basically, and if they don't make a good argument, it's the opposite of a bing. It's that precise sound, and it's 1 point for a good argument, 1 point against you for a good argument. After that, we'll get into Kieran's free throw, where he talks about whatever he wants to talk about, basically, this week, and then into our picks, which have been nip and tuck so far. If anybody's got any suggestions for the forfeit at the end of this year's Shot Clock, please get in touch. The best suggestion still so far is naked broadcasting from the loser. Kieran Donaghy is on the line this morning, and we're starting off with topic 1, which is the fact that there is a job going in the midfield for Dublin. We know that Brian Fenton is the generational talent in this position, the best player in his position in the country right now, but there is still technically a vacancy beside him. Nobody has managed to lock down that other jersey. Kieran, for the next couple of years, who should partner Brian Fenton in Dublin's midfield?
I would put Brian Howard in there. I think they're both Raheny men. Fenton's 25, 26 now. I think Howard's 23. They've got a great bond, obviously, as club players. They have a great understanding from the club scene as well as the county scene. I think Howard's fantastic in the air. If you look back to the time Kerry put the press on him last year in the first All-Ireland final, it was Howard that had that magnificent catch over Gavin White and led Dublin down the field for that goal that really set them off. I think he's played a lot at centre-back in the league, so he's a great understanding of what a defence needs from a good midfield partnership in an 8 or a 9. So I think he'd have a good understanding to drop back from there as well. Obviously, he's played a lot at half-forward, a lot at centre-back, and really, he's all-round football ability. He's quality on the ball. He's a great kick passer. He can take a score. He knows how to help his defence. I really think he's the perfect partner for Fenton in the middle of the field, and I would go with him all day long.
You're wasting the talents of one of the greatest footballers of all time, potentially, in Howard. Howard has a pirouette that we've never seen the like of. He's got the balance and the running ability to run a game from centre-back. Because you already have a generational talent in midfield, and you can supplement him with a range of different players. Michael Darragh-Macaulay is not finished. Peadar O'Cuffig-Byrne is an animal, according to Brian Fenton. That's what he told Owen last week. The point is that there are millions of different potential constellations of what could work in midfield. And I think we have not even scratched the surface of what Howard can do. I think he is literally somebody who can play in any of the 6 forward spots if you need him to, but actually his best position may well be at centre-back running games. When you think about the type of possession football that they're going to have to play.
James McCarthy, why would you be putting a fella like Brian Howard at centre-back when you've got John Small or James McCarthy? John Small's completely natural.
John Small's just a marker at this stage. John Small has yet to become somebody who can actually read the game the way, for example, Cian O'Sullivan has done. But Brian Howard, absolutely, he can do that. He can get forward for scores. Or, better still, you can pick him left half forward, and he's going to be the best left half forward in the country for the next 10 years.
Why can't he be the best midfielder in the country, though, and just put him in a slot next to his own clubman, where you're right, he can dictate games from centre-back. Do you know what? He can dictate him better from midfield.
Darren Gavin.
He's more freedom out there. I know they've got options.
Darren Gavin, Peadar O'Cuffig-Byrne and MDMA are all going to be there already. So you're solving a problem that doesn't need to be solved. We're only talking about this because Dublin have so many good forwards. But his ability to drop deep when they need to fetch catches, as you've said, you can do that from the half-forward line. His running ability suggests that he's going to be an auxiliary midfielder anyway, no matter where you pick him. But I just think that what you want is him not to be overshadowed by his midfield partner and not to be markable the way midfielders are. So you don't want Kerry, for example, to be able to go, Jack Barry, your job today is to take him out of the game. You want to make sure that he's going to have a bit of freedom either as that centre half back who holds things and starts plays, or in the forward line where he's given a completely free run to do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
this guy.
Of course. Can you play him at centre back? Can you play him at wing forward? You can. I think he'd benefit massively from being given a set position and being told you're our guy. Now maybe Peadar O'Cuffig-Byrne is the man. Maybe it is Darren Gavin, but I don't know. They're unproven, whereas Howard is proven. You have 5 in a row in the bag. You're trying to get 6, 7, and 8, and you go with your 2 best players in the middle of the field, 2 clubmen. And
20 seconds, lads.
I think they could form an absolute scary partnership in the middle of the field, the 2 of them. They both can move, they both can cover for each other. They're both unbelievable on the ball. And it's hard then to just put a Jack Barry on one guy, because if you put a Jack Barry on Howard to keep him quiet, then Fenton's going to murder you. You put your marker on Fenton, keep him quiet, then Howard is going to cause you trouble.
All right.
Go with your two best guys in the middle of the field.
A lot of contradictions going on there, lads. I'm not going to lie. Jerry, you're on -3. Kieran, you're on +1 at the moment. Like, ridiculous. Like, what is freedom? What is an auxiliary midfielder, really?
Yeah, he said he could play anywhere in the 6 forwards. I don't know if Howard's going to be inside full forward anytime soon.
I'm telling you, you can pick him corner forward anytime you want.
Yeah, you could if you want to send him out the middle of the field as a third midfielder, which is making my point.
Can he play full forward?
Give me another bing for that.
Let's move on to topic number 2. It is the NBA All-Star Weekend. You're a big fan, Kieran.
Yeah, look, it was absolutely sensational, to be honest with you. And you know, I had an issue, and Jerry kind of brought it up last week in Shot Clock, and the issue was that this game was becoming a joke. It was becoming a highlight reel. Nobody making any effort. Nobody really interested in the game. It was losing its appeal big time, and same as the Pro Bowl in the NFL, and somewhat same as even the GA All-Star games. They've lost their appeal, but I think the NBA resurrected it big time this year. It was Team Giannis versus Team LeBron, like it's been for the last 3 years in a row. But what they did is they got 2 brilliant charities on board. They played each quarter as its own separate game. So what you have then is automatically competitive guys who want to win each quarter. 100,000 was given to the winner of each quarter. LeBron won the first, Giannis won the second. The third was an unbelievable tie at 41 apiece. And then to honour Kobe Bryant, 24 points was added on to the top score at the end of the 3 quarters. So LeBron's team were on 133, and you put 24 into that, and the top score was 157. So basically turned into the first to 157. And what you had is you had 2 teams going at it. It went down to the final stretch. It was 155 each. And it was inevitably, it was next score wins. There was fouls. There was more free throws than ever before in an All-Star team. There was defense. You had Giannis going against LeBron. You had Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. You had guys going at each other that we haven't seen in it for a long, long time in the All-Star game. Kawhi was the man, MVP, the first Kobe Bryant All-Star award. He got his 30 points. And you know what? It's fitting because he's the most like Kobe in the NBA right now is Kawhi Leonard. And that was a huge thing, but it was brilliant. And maybe another tweak for next year. Why am I getting the end of
I can just stay stum here and there's a chance.
Elaborate on this, Kieran.
It's him.
Why am I getting a negative point for Kawhi Leonard is the most like Kobe in the NBA right now?
Is he? I'm not sure if I go along with that, Kieran. Back that up. Where's your evidence for that? As Jerry likes to imitate.
You're not in this. You're the ref. Put me back over to my colleague. He is the most like Kobe Bryant in the league. He's similar size. He's a two-way player. He's the best defender in the league right now. Kobe was a completely unheralded defender. He was a beast on defense. And I think body language-wise, in-game-wise, they're both tigers when the games are on the line. We saw that last year when Kawhi led these Raptors, who were massively unfancy, to win the NBA championship. So he was well deserving of the Kobe Bryant. A little tweak for next year, something that would be interesting, would be making it a Team World versus a Team USA. Oh, yeah. And I'll give you the starting fives for both. USA, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard at the 2, LeBron at the 3, Durant at the 4, and Anthony Davis at the 5, which is scary. But when you put them with Ben Simmons at the 1 for the world, along with Luka Doncic at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, Giannis at the 4, and Embiid, Jokic or Gobert at the 5, it would be unbelievable. And I think your competitive edge would be absolutely driven through the roof if it was a world versus the USA at every All-Star game.
The Olympics should do that instead and just go, look, we understand that the dream team is going to win every gold medal, so what we're going to do is have a rest of the world in the Olympics. Can I ask a question here? Like, are there lessons that we can learn for Irish sport? Because we're essentially talking about GAA here, and there's no window on the calendar. Like, the weekend of the All-Ireland final would be great if on the Friday night Croke Park was full and it was a tenner in and you had some kind of all-star occasion. But those players who are playing in that game will actually end up missing club matches to do that, or risking injury for a club match. So the time of the year doesn't really work. Is there any window where we could actually get the best players involved in something that would help promote the game, that would just give a different audience the opportunity to do it and try new things, have kind of some weird combine superstars thing going on, like something just to sex the whole weekend up?
I just think you're fighting an uphill battle, because as much as guys would love to be nominated, one, you have to be kind of nominated for an All-Star. So I think all your nominees. The problem is on All-Ireland final weekend, probably half of those nominees are playing the following day. And then you have what you have left over. You probably don't have enough for a proper game. And you are, as you rightly say, running the risk of injury, running the risk of players not getting it. Maybe you could have, look, there's going to be Tier 1 and Tier 2 this year. Maybe you put a Tier 2 All-Star game with the best players from that tier on the day before. But it's going to be really hard. Like, they're trying to incentivize the All-Star game by bringing in abroad to make the All-Stars want to go and play a game. But maybe when they do bring it abroad, maybe they actually kind of do it at a time of year, like it's in November or whatever, and you kind of say to the teams, look, listen, lads, we're going to go at this today for, you know, we won't try and hurt anybody, but we're going to play a proper game, which is all you want.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to pick up injuries. Fellas can get injured at training for a club.
4 quarters.
You know, that can happen.
4 quarters is a great idea because it means that the scoreboard resets and everybody goes, oh, geez, okay. But actually, it lends short-term excitement up against the clock. Everybody gets competitive up against the clock, as we know on Shot Clock, Kieran.
Yeah, no, 100%. That would definitely be a good idea. But they should certainly look at something, because our great players that win these All-Stars or even get the honour of being nominated for an All-Star, that game deserves to be maybe on national television, which I know when it goes abroad, I'm not sure it is. Yeah. I think it's very much a kind of, we'll promote the game around the world. But if you're going to promote the game around the world and you're going to bring All-Stars out to foreign trips, well, then you need to put 2 or 3 months of advertising into it, where it's on. You need to get into the Irish community over there. You need to pack a little stadium out. Yeah. You need to make it 13 against 13, whatever it may be, to have that kind of
dangerous territory there. You're talking about Super 11s.
But I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about what's the possibility of getting a GA-sized pitch in one of these stadiums. Come on,
turning a glorified holiday into an All-Star competitive game.
15 in the soccer pitch.
Turning a glorified holiday into a competitive All-Star game, deducted you 1 point, and I can tell you Jer's closing the gap considerably. He's only on -1. Kieran, you're on like 1 or 2. Topic 3, Kieran, it's about shithousery. Atletico Madrid, I thought perhaps it was an excellent defensive performance from Atletico Madrid that helped them beat Liverpool on Tuesday night at the Wanda, but a lot of people are referring to their shithousery and to their dark alley tactics. Is shithousery a prerequisite to success at the moment?
Yes, you absolutely 100% need a degree of it. If you go back over any of the great teams that have won anything, you have to have your guys that are going to get in your faces, and Atletico have a lot of them. I know they lost Godin last year, but you know, you have to be in people's faces at the highest level. Now, you have to try and rattle their cage. You can't just take them on in football and hope that's good enough, and it will be good enough. But when the thing gets very tight and you're playing a team that are really up for it, and you've got guys in your faces, if they can take you out of your game, you know, I experienced it with that great Tyrone team. You know, I have Joe McMahon rolling in my face. I look over, Tommy Walsh is getting it from I'm getting it from Justin. Tommy's getting it from Joe. And what they're trying to do is take you away from concentrating on the ball and get you rattled. And you look.
Did it work?
Of course. It did in essence, because what it did is it didn't allow us to run around and play this beautiful, free-flowing game that we had in our heads going into an All-Ireland final. Now you were in an absolute complete dogfight. Now you had to deal with dealing with a very stubborn defence, a lot of bodies around you, and then every time you turn it over, there's fellas in your ear, there's fellas hopping off you. The level of frustration builds up, your anxiety builds up. You're in front of 85,000 people, you're in front of your family, you're trying to win for your country, your county. So of course it affects you. And I think every team. Look, I think the Dublin team now are a prime example. Your John Smalls, your Phillies, you know, these guys are in your ears, and they're really ratcheting up that side of it, as well as being fantastic athletes, as well as being unbelievable defenders. Like Johnny Cooper's an unbelievable defender. He's all the science behind it. He puts in all the hours, but he's getting in your ear when he turns you over. He's been physical with you. He's bumping off you. He's trying to upset your rhythm and flow in a game. A forward loves nothing better, or an attacking team loves nothing better than to come out and just play the game and nobody say boo to you. I think what Atletico did the last day to Liverpool is exactly what probably more teams need to try and do in the Premiership, which is really get stuck into them.
I think the key thing about this is that it's actually, at a fundamental level, it is coached in the best teams. That Liverpool themselves have their own art form of shithousery, and that's tactical fouling. Manchester City exactly the same. If you look at the stats for where they foul, they mostly foul in the opposition third of the pitch, top third of the pitch, because that means that when they're getting turned over, they're having a foul and they're making sure that the defence gets set again. That, to me, is like raising the level of shithousery to an arch level. And it's clear that Tyrone, for all their protestations, there would have been conversations it might have been off Broadway. It might not have been, you know, at the team meeting in front of the 32 people and the 600 selectors and the backroom teams. But if you look at what Dublin did at the end of that All-Ireland final a couple of years ago, when Mayo were looking to kick out the ball and everybody wrestles people to the ground, don't tell me a conversation was not had about that. Don't tell me that 5 or 6 people had exactly the same instinct at the final seconds of that game. That is the level that the top teams are operating at. And if other teams don't appreciate that, they're not in the same ballgame. You think back to the All Blacks after we beat them in Chicago. They came and they took the heads off. They literally almost took Henshaw's head off. There were 2 other players who went out of that game concussed because they decided they were going to beat the crap out of us and that they were going to make friends with the referee before the game. He warmed up in their corner. They were all over shaking hands with Jakob Piper. He refereed that game easy. They could have had a couple of yellow cards, certainly could have had a couple of red cards, and didn't in the end. We ended up losing that game because we weren't playing at that level. They were playing chess, we were playing checkers.
Yeah, no, like if you look at what you're saying, you're 100% right in a way, because if teams are going to go right to the edge of the line to win, and modern sport now, nobody remembers second place. It's really you get nothing for it. It's win at all costs, and if you want to win at all costs, you have to take it to that level. Is it being coached? Absolutely. Have the Dublin teams and the Tyrones and the All Blacks? They have all that, but you know what else they have? They have the unbelievable players. They have the unbelievable athletes that help you win the game. If you go out there and you don't have those athletes and you don't have those unbelievable
Liverpool
players,
and City do as well. Exactly, yeah. You got. But if you can marry, which is what the best teams are doing, like what this Dublin team are doing at the minute, if you can marry that athletic ability, that unbelievable skill level, and the small bit of shithousery, you're on a winner. One last point. I'm very surprised that Kerry needed lessons from Tyrone. I don't understand how that happened. Like, surely you guys are at this in club matches to each other all the time. You just forgot to bring it to Croke Park that one day.
No, not really, man. It really isn't something that's done in Kerry. It's you know.
Tell David Clifford that.
We've got
well,
we've got a winner.
It might be leaking down to us.
We've got a winner here. Ger has finally claimed a shot clock from
I can't believe it.
I will say, Kieran, the nobody remembers second place line did you in there. We talk about Mayo more than any other county on this show. It is the very antithesis of your point. Just one final point before we move on to your free throw, Kieran. What is the worst case of shithousery you've ever encountered? There's no points being scored here. This is kind of a separate free throw almost.
I would say it was the 08 final. It was brilliant by Mickey Hart what they did. It was, you know, I heard rumblings that Joe McMahon would be coming from wing forward back on top of me, and then he jogged back towards me, but then he went over to Tommy Walsh. Justin was on me. You'd Conor Gormley, you'd Ryan McManaman, you'd Philly Jordan, you'd absolutely the cream of the crop when it came to shithousery. But what you had also is you had unbelievable players, and you know Philly Jordan and Gormley were unbelievable out in the half back line. Ricey was in one corner, Justin was hopping off of me, Joe was hopping off of Tommy. Saying that, it was 2008. We were in the game. We gave away an unbelievable sloppy goal after half time, which inevitably caught us. And Sean Kavanagh took over when the game was on the line. But you know, when I talk about shithousery and I use Ryan McManaman as cause he'll put his hand up himself. He knows he was the king of it. When we played him in Killarney in 2012, when we beat Tyrone well in Killarney that day in the championship, and it probably marked the end for a few of those lads. And I have the utmost respect for McManaman in a way, because he kept coming. He kept coming with the verbals. Even when Kerry were 6-7 points up in Killarney, we were in our pomp, the green and gold, the sun was shining. There was 40,000 in the stadium. And he kept at it right until he got sent off, and he was even jiving at me going off the pitch. and my respect levels went up for him, because it's easy to do. It's easy to be at the shithousery when you're winning, and you're affecting the opposition. But when you know you're not affecting the opposition, and they're absolutely tanking you, and you're still full of shithousery, I got to take my hat off to Ryan McManaman.
That is dedication to the craft.
An artist.
Let's move on to the actual free throw today, Kieran. You've been chatting about social media this week and perhaps the damaging effect it can have on sports people, and that I guess is accelerating in recent years. What's your take on this? Do you have any personal stories on the whole social media aspect of being an intercounty footballer?
No, look, I was asked the question at the launch for Laker Gale on Tuesday, and look, it kind of came out that I was suggesting that the GAA is going to solve the whole thing. It's obvious that the GAA is not going to solve the trolling issue. you know, and I'm not saying people don't have free speech. All I'm really saying is people should have accountability for what they say and what they say on people's pages, on certain forums, and when they target people on social media. You know, if I'm on Sky Sports or I'm on Off the Ball, if I say something, I have to be accountable. It comes back to me. People are allowed to come back and go at me on it. But I think this you know, pseudonym accounts on social media. You know, I mentioned the forums that each county have. I have no problem with people giving their opinion on forums, but you must put your name to it. You can't put some random BBB 444 and slate all around you. Like, it's the biggest act of cowardism that you can ever do. You know, and I only heard yesterday that Mary Butler, that I think she was Fianna Fáil, a TD, there was a fake Facebook page set up that was pretending to be her, that liked very wrong material, inappropriate material. And then when that was stopped and that Facebook closed down that page, they still had all the screenshots and they were banging them around on WhatsApp. So it's just a very dangerous area. And I think, you know, if anybody's looking for the blue tick on Twitter, if you get over, I think it's 10,000. Hillary did it for me when the numbers were on the social media accounts. But you have to give your passport. You have to send your details. You have to send 2 forms of ID. And Twitter will do that for anybody that gets over 10,000. So Twitter have no problem doing it for the big names out there to verify them. But they won't verify the person that has 15 followers, but that actually is causing a lot of harm on social media. Now, obviously, it's a cost implication for them. Obviously, they have to bring on more people to do all the paperwork and get through all of that. But we need to do something. Something needs to be done. And maybe the GA could use funds, maybe to educate young players in all these development squads around the country, maybe to show them how to handle it. It never really bothered me. The trolls never really bothered me. I took it for what it was. I took it that if they were going to put that up on their page, they're clowns anyway. But some younger people mightn't be able to do that. And maybe the GA could invest in some money, maybe look at getting the amount of people that go around the country to these development squads and talk to them about social media, warn them about the pitfalls, warn them that if they're sharing and liking material on WhatsApp, how that can affect other people. If they're on Snapchat, if they're online bullying, the dangers that can have for both them as a person when they go on and say they're 17 or 18, they're trying to get a job in a few years, and somebody goes back through their Facebook or their Twitter profile and sees stuff like this going on, they'll be ruled out of a job straight away. The effect it's having on the person that you're going after, you know, that's a huge thing. And there's a part of me as well that, you know, when I talk about it in my camp, I talk about it. I do it in my basketball camp every Easter and Halloween. I talk to the kids about bullying and online bullying. But I also talk to them about resilience. And I think that's a big thing that we can try and go towards with the kids is how to be resilient about this, and that if people are having goes off you on certain forms of social media, to how to try and teach them to be more resilient. And, you know, that, look, ideally in a perfect world, yes, there's no more trolls, there's nobody giving you grief on social media, but we're not in the perfect world, unfortunately. And I think trying to show the kids maybe how to be more resilient. And look, I'm not an expert, so I don't have any areas of expertise in this field. I just know when I'm talking to the kids at my camp, I know they take it better coming from me rather than a teacher or a parent. And all I try and say to them is never be a part of it. Just have a think before you post something up about someone. And you know what? With all the stuff we try and get the kids to do, the adults are the biggest issue here. There's people there that have accounts and that they have kids themselves and they're abusing people online. And I would wonder, what would they think that if a few years somebody was doing that to their kids, how would they feel about it? So I think we all need to take a big step back when it comes to social media and realise, and listen, I use social media for my own benefits, for PST, my company. We do a lot of retweeting for them. But you can't justify what some people say, and it has to be people have to step up and rise above it and really start looking at what they're doing. And if people are opening accounts from now on, even if Twitter can't go back over everybody else that's on Twitter for now, even if they said, if Twitter and Instagram said right now we're going to get everybody to, they have to send on an image of their passport, an image of their name, and that name has to go on the account. And I think that's a huge thing that we should do. Open Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts, they should have to use their mother's passport so that there's linkage. So if they're doing online bullying or they're saying inappropriate stuff, that Twitter can get onto the parents and say, listen, we're going to close this account and you can have a chat. And there has to be more accountability in the world of social media. And the big Facebooks, Twitters, Instagrams, Snapchats, they all have to step their game up. I'm not for 1 second suggesting that the GA are going to start this. The only thing I said about the GA is could they figure out a way to try and help people deal with it. And I said they should shut down the forums. Maybe they shouldn't shut down the forums, but maybe they need to make sure that everybody on the forum has a real name, a real ID, and we know where they're coming from. And that if they're going to be saying something about managers, players or individuals, that they can be held accountable afterwards.
All right, that is the free throw this week. Moving on to the final section of this morning's Shot Clock. We're getting into the picks. So last week, it finished 1-1 in the pick section. You both picked Team LeBron in the All-Star game. Galway against Tip was called off. And you were both wrong about Chelsea versus Manchester United, because United surprised a lot of people by beating Chelsea on Monday night. It was 2-2 the week before that, so we're nip and tuck at the moment. This week, Kieran, we'll go to you first on all of these. England against Ireland. What do you see happening in this one?
I have England 24-17, just because they've had a really tough start to the campaign, and I think they're going to come out and try and put on a show after their dismal performance above against Scotland and getting hoodwinked by France. And I think Ireland are on a good curve after the win last week, but I just fancy England just to take them, unfortunately. I'll be shouting for Ireland, don't worry, but I think England by 7.
Manu Tuilagi, obviously 5-0 against Ireland. The 5 times he's played against us, he's won every single time. But I think that this is going to be the one time where he doesn't win. And obviously I'm trying to make up some ground here, but I'm going to go for Ireland with the upset. You've got 7 points. Bookmakers are all on your side, Kieran, but I actually think that there's an opportunity here for us, without the Vinipolas, to smash England up, to smash them early, to smash them often, and to get in their heads and to just squeak a win.
Saturday, the early game in the Premier League is Chelsea against Tottenham. Kieran, will it be redemption for Frank Lampard?
Yeah, I think so. I think Chelsea are going to get this. I think either 2-0 or 2-1. I go with 2-1, but I do think Chelsea, they'll have to bounce back from the weekend. I hope he starts Giroud. I was at the game on Monday night. Batshuayi, he's just not at it. He missed a sitter of a chance, and I think Giroud just causes them more problems, especially with the amount of tackling midfielders we have. He's a good man to hold up the ball, and he's also good in the air when the ball comes in. So if they go with him, that's obviously counting Abraham being out.
I'm going for a draw in this game. I think that Spurs are going to play very defensively, and I don't think that Chelsea, as you point out, have the player power at the moment to actually break them down. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's scoreless, but if they do score, I think that Spurs can get at least one, and it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And
finally, Saturday night, this should be good in Croke Park here in Dublin against Donegal. What do you see in this one?
I swung both ways with this one, to be quite honest with you, because I thought Donegal would be coming down and they would have seen what Monaghan had done last week, and they would capitalise on that. And I think they have slightly better players than Monaghan. But I think Dublin will have a lot of home troops last week after that. They got out of jail. And I think you're going to see an answer from the weekend with as strong as the team is that they've put out so far this year. And I Dublin by 2.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go exactly the same thing. I think that Donegal are going to stick it up to them. Dublin haven't won one game in the league so far. A couple of draws in there as well. And I actually think they're going to win this weekend as well.
Good stuff. Kieran, thanks a million for taking the call.
Thanks, lads.
Shot Clock again, same time, same place, next week on OTB AM, Thursday mornings always. Well done. You're back in the game.
I can't believe you can screw this one up for me as well.
Keep your top on for now this summer.
Hey.